What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Linares.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venencia. I can't remember if we still haven't gone back and confirmed there, but I said Heat in 5, maybe Heat in 6. So, I mean, Heat Nation, we're up 1-0
Let's get
on
out.
the fraud ass Knicks. I mean, people were saying I don't know if the Heat can go into MSG all this shit. I was like, of course the Cavs are from Cleveland. Of course they can't play in a fucking arena, but this is Miami we're talking about now. So I mean, we handled our business there. MSG's weak. I had to get that
I
out of the way.
respect that. I was a little bit worried at the start of the game, though. Like you said, I mean, it's MSG. Like it is the big bright lights, and the Heat were down early on, but they came to play in second half for sure. So good game. I think if it was in Miami, it would have been a big Heat win. It ended up being a pretty good Heat win,
Yeah,
couple, close to 10 or whatever, more than 5. But yeah, I think it would have been like a blowout if it was in Miami. Like I think that the crowd, the atmosphere really just got the
yeah.
Knicks like in it off rip, and then they kind of just caught up to reality, which is unfortunate for them. But yeah, Jimmy, obviously unfortunate potential injury there
Yeah,
at the end, a little
he'll
sus. I
be
would be a little
fine.
bit worried. I think he's a dog. He got that dog in him for
Yeah,
sure. He should be all right, but definitely
this
not
isn't fraud
ideal.
Bastianis we're talking about, or fraud Julius Randle. Like Jimmy's not gonna sit games like that. Like I think he'll be able to go. He was in the game still, so
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
kind of weird. He was just sitting there in the corner, like doing this
yeah,
shooting form, and I was like, all right, I don't know what if he's gonna
he
actually
was
shoot the ball.
trolling.
Yeah, he was. I didn't know what was gonna happen. And then they would just switch on defense. So I feel like at that point you shouldn't even be out there, but whatever.
Yeah, during the last possession, I can't. I think it was Brunson driving, or it was Josh Hart actually. Josh Hart had Jimmy on him and switched Kyle Lowry onto it, which that made no sense. Jimmy was hurt.
Yeah,
Kyle Lowry had 4 blocks in the game, so I mean,
that's a dog. But yeah, a lot of good basketball on today. We had game 7, Warriors versus Kings. What were your thoughts on that game?
pretty good. I mean, the I feel like the Kings' inexperience really showed. I feel like
Hmm.
that was the biggest difference. Um, Kevon Looney was looking like prime Shaq out there. Like that was
He
sick.
really was.
That was
3 games of 20 plus rebounds in one series is crazy. 10 or 11 offensive rebounds alone,
yeah,
which is more than many people get total rebounds. And Steph obviously did his thing. I was a Steph hater. I actually love Steph a lot first. And then there was a couple years where I think I was
yeah.
just sick of the Warriors. And I was like, I hate Steph Curry. He threw the mouthpiece. He was just
Uh-huh.
winning everything. I was like, I'm done with Steph. I'm back on Steph. I'm just appreciating greatness. The man turned up, like
Yeah, like I remember like back
legendary
in the day, like
performance.
yeah, like 2012, 2013, being big on like Steph, Damian Lillard. And then kind of like you said there, once the Warriors won the little run when KD was there, he's pretty intolerable to me. So
Mhm.
um, but yeah, I mean, great performance by him, of course. So um the marquee matchup, Lakers versus Warriors. Like this is I mean LeBron versus Warriors, I guess we'll say it as. Like I saw a TikTok I had reposted. It was like being tired of LeBron versus the Warriors for 5 years straight, and then like one last match, or then
I saw
like it was
that
the
one.
parallel was the yeah one last matchup. Like this
I'm
is
very excited for it.
yeah, this is gonna be a great series. So I know my goat's gonna get it done though.
Yeah, we were just talking a couple weeks ago about how consistently good those Warriors Cavs matchups were.
Mm-hmm.
And so although it's not Cavs Warriors, it's LeBron and Warriors, so it's still going to be great. I think we can guarantee that. LeBron, he always comes to play in the playoffs. AD hopefully does his thing, and yeah, the Warriors have been looking pretty good, but the Lakers have too in the playoffs at least. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's kind of crazy that this is the matchup we get considering both of them were like lower seeds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They both got the upsets, and here we are.
yeah. I mean, all it doesn't matter in the end because I mean the Heat are coming for title number 4. So I feel like none of
We'll
this
see
matters
about that.
anyways. But we'll see what happens.
And then in the East, we got to talk about Celtics versus 76ers. Obviously, I'm a Celtics boy rocking with them here. Joel being doubtful for game 1. Obviously, I like Joel a lot, but as a Celtics fan, very happy to see that. So I think hopefully Celtics get off to a good start in the
Yeah,
series. We'll see. Hopefully they can
it's
get up pretty big before Joel gets back. I don't know how many games he'll be out, if more than one at all, but we'll see. James Harden, obviously my boy though. So if somebody has to take the Celtics out, I'm okay with it being James Harden as much as I'm like not
Yeah.
with the 76ers. I always wanted Rockets versus Celtics in the finals, and it never happened. I always thought it could happen in like
Yeah, it
those
was like an outside
late,
chance.
in those late James Harden Houston years. I thought we could get it. We never did. I was disappointed because then that would be like a obviously rocking with the Celtics. But if James Harden got a championship, beat
Yeah, that'd
all
be a
the
win-win.
wasted stats allegations, I'd be
That
pretty
was
happy
like, yeah,
too.
that was like when the Heat played the Lakers in the finals. I was like, okay, like, I mean, I obviously want my Heat to win, but we're playing the GOAT, you know. But
Exactly.
my thing is with the Celtics 76ers, the 76ers can't make it out of the second round. I mean, that's
Mm-mm.
been proven they lost the Hawks 1 year for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Um, they had Jimmy Butler with the team they have now and
Yeah.
still
They
lost. Like
and like yeah, they just kind of
it's
fold
just a
every year. It's tough.
it's a fraudulent franchise. Like I viewed them and the Knicks as very fraudulent. Whereas the Bucks, Heat, Celtics have been there. We've made it there. So
Yeah, I think obviously the Knicks and the 76ers very like historically rich tradition,
yeah,
all that kind of stuff. But as of late, you know, not too much winning going on over there. So we'll see what happens this year. Obviously, at least they're both in the second round. So maybe things are looking up for them. But as a Celtics fan, I hope it's not. So we'll see what
yeah, we need
happens.
we need the rematch. We need the trilogy here now. So
We got to
and
have
this
that.
is this is like such a storied rivalry. I mean, even from like fucking the back in the day with LeBron and uh
hmm
the big three with the Celtics. I mean, there's just always
Yep.
great playoff matchups. So
So we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully we do get that Heat versus Celtics matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that'd be a good one. Always going to be a good one with Jimmy Butler, and they just got the dogs on the Heat, so I always look forward to playing them. But let's get into our songs of the week here. Kick us off here with your first song of the week.
so for my first one here, this I haven't listened to this one like a full playthrough in a minute, so it always comes up in shuffle. I have Boom Boom Room by Roddy Ricch. I just need to bring up the point of how great of an album. Please excuse me for being antisocial is. I mean, I know you're not really rocking with it too much, but I saw it on
Yeah,
like a little Twitter thread and it was getting the praise it deserves. So, I mean, although, my co host isn't rocking with it the way that I am, at least the world is. So,
I guess so. I'll be honest on the record here. I've never heard that song, so I'll have to give it a listen.
it's good. Like, I don't know. You always, it's just one of those ones you never listen to, I guess, or I always bring it up and yeah, just
I
ends
don't
like
know. Yeah,
this.
Roddy's just one of those guys I just don't see myself going after, but he does have some good songs, so I'll have to give it a chance. My first song of the week is Star by Brockhampton. Recently, our boy Mauricio, we've been getting him on Brockhampton heavier. And because of that, I added Star to my basketball playlist. I play at the basketball court with, the speaker so everybody can hear it. And, not everybody's rocking with Brockhampton. And I think Star is one of the most mainstream sounding Brockhampton songs. It got I think, really catchy beat, really good references and lyrics. People weren't rocking with the flow. I think the Amir flow obviously gets a lot of hate. The hate is very played out on the Amir flow, but I'm sure since that was like their first time hearing it, it was new to them. So I'll give them a break on the hate on the Amir flow. But then obviously you got the Kevin line to start his verse, which just listen to the song if you don't know it.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously that's gonna
Raise some eyebrows.
open some eyes, raise some eyebrows. Yeah. So I was like very confused with the hate, and then we
Uh-huh.
got that line, and I'm like, okay, it's not even, it's fine. It's like whatever. That's what he's talking about. That's his verse. But yeah, I just don't
It's
understand the hate.
okay. Not all music's for everybody. It's subjective, of
I
course.
know.
So it's all right. I'm rocking with it. That's all that matters. So
Yep,
um,
Sam.
with my second pick here, it's the 7 year anniversary. What was it yesterday for views?
I think
Or
so.
7 years? Yeah, 20. Yeah, 7 years. Wow. I have Redemption off of views. Just that back half. Oh, it's just such a great song. I mean, this is one of the ones that just solidifies views as such a great project and one that's climbed up my list in the past few years with tracks like Redemption or it's just solid all around. So
hmm I like Redemption. It's one of my probably top half reviews for sure. Yeah, rock with it. I haven't heard it in a minute, but it's a good track. My next song is No Laughing Matter by Boldy James. I had not heard this song since I had seen Goodfellas. And then I was listening through that project and that track came on. and I got to the little like outro skit part where
Yeah.
it's this sample of Goodfellas where it's you think I'm funny, funny like a clown, whatever. And I just had a smile on my face. I had to send it to you because we were on a Goodfellas kick. So really loved it hearing it after I'd seen the movie, obviously.
Yeah, obviously I love when these references make sense like
Hmm.
afterwards after the fact. So I've tried to increase the amount of movies I watch and everything within the past couple years as I've gotten older. So I'm getting a lot
Hmm.
more of these references. So
Oh yeah.
I like that. With my last one here, this song, like I don't know why I was just driving home from work, I think, or driving home from lunch actually to go back to work. And I thought of Shoreline Mafia and Musty. I mean, if we had a song, that defined every year of high school, freshman year, sophomore year, this would be my junior year song.
Oh,
So
okay.
just such a banger, honestly. I've been banging it since. So shout out Shoreline Mafia.
I rock with Shoreline Mafia. They are somebody that all the songs kind of just go together for me. Like I'm not good identifying which one's which, but I just like know the songs. So I don't know Musty by name, but I've probably heard it. I rock with Shoreline Mafia though. It's an interesting pick. Somebody we have definitely not talked about in the pod, I don't think. So
Yeah,
like that shout out there.
yeah, obviously that's kind of like the purpose to bring up a song or an album or an artist that we've never brought up before. So that's the kind of the point we tried to make whenever we brought this little 3 songs each week to this. So
Hmm. Love that. My last song of the week, definitely something we talked about before, Chance the Rapper. But the song this week is Juice. Finally on streaming services for the 10-year anniversary of Acid Rap. So happy. Obviously, we had Acid Rap come to streaming services probably, 4 years ago or whatever it was, and Juice wasn't able to get cleared. Very disappointing because that's like the hit off of Acid Rap and
yeah,
probably many people's first introduction to Chance the Rapper. So finally having it on streaming services is just great. Maybe it's a little bit too late, some would say, but better late than never. I'm happy to have it.
yeah. No, I mean I'm never gonna complain about a song getting added. So I mean it's never
Yeah,
too
I
late,
feel
of
that.
course. So
I do feel that, but I feel like it would have been just
yeah, I guess in
all
terms of like
acid rap at once would have been great. And so now it's like, oh, whatever. Because now there's two different acid raps, and the only difference
yeah,
is that one song, and it's just like, all right, what are we doing? But I'm just happy to have it, whatever. Small
yeah. I feel like
details.
yeah, that's more the interface of like these Spotify and Apple Music. Like they got to find a way to get all this together. But
Hmm.
that's a flaw there. But I mean, great apps nonetheless. So
Yep, for sure. Let's get into today's topic, though. Shout out to producer Devin. He gave us a good idea for an episode. This is something kind of different than anything we've done before. It might be fast, it might be slow. I don't really know the cadence of how this is going to go. It's going to
yeah,
depend about how much we go into these people, I guess. But the idea is we're going to name 5 rappers for the other person, and you have to name the first song of theirs that comes to your head. And then we'll talk about those artists a little bit, maybe talk about our favorite song, best song. There's obviously a distinction between the best and favorite, but we'll just talk about some other songs from those people and just excited to get into some of these people that we haven't talked about too much. I like that Shoreline song of the week inclusion because that's kind of a good segue into this. So let's get into it.
all right, I'll kick it off. I'll give you an artist. I was curious about this one, obviously, just back in my mind here. Let's start off with Mac Miller.
Mac Miller. It's funny. I actually had like a feeling you're going to pick him, and
Yeah,
the song that like came in my head first was "Dang,"
dang.
and
Okay.
that's pretty random. I feel like that wouldn't be everybody's first pick. I feel
No,
like
that yeah.
it's, but it's like one of my favorite Mac Miller songs. Truly, it is my like one of my favorite summer 2016 songs. That was like when I was first getting Anderson Pack, and so when
Yeah.
him and Mac were on that song together, it was just a great track. Very summer 2016, like just riding around, listening to that. It was really hitting then.
Yeah, I mean that's a good choice. That's not yeah, like you said. I don't think a lot of people would have picked that as the one that first comes to mind, but obviously, good reasoning there with that. So
Yeah, I think it's just one of the Mac Miller songs I think I've listened to a lot, but that's just one like that has so many memories attached to it. Like I feel
mhm.
like any song that you listen to in the summer where you're doing things, especially the summer,
Yeah,
like the first summer out of high school where you're really just like I don't know, I feel like life's kind of changed at that point. So that's very core to my growing up, I guess.
yeah, and we'll be talking about some of the summer songs. I mean, here soon. We want to give it about another month or so, or a couple weeks at least. So it feels like summer a little bit more. So stay tuned for that.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk favorite slash best Mac Miller here. What would you go with here?
This is such like an interesting one because I mean he almost had two different careers.
Mm-hmm.
I I really found it hard not to pick like 2009 or something off
It's a
Swimming
good pick.
or Circles just because of like how beautiful those albums are, how beautiful those songs are. Um, I'd say I really enjoy 2009 the most, and I'd also agree with that maybe the best.
I think that's definitely a valid pick. I think for me, one of mine would be Perfect Circle Godspeed. That's, he kind of has these
Yeah,
two different careers. That's kind of in the middle. Like it's kind of breaking up the early Mac into this like more mature, different production type Mac. And I think that's such a good song. Like it truly to me is just such a good look into Mac Miller and what he was going through. And it's similar when I think of that song, I think of kind of like Lil Peep. Like Lil Peep
yeah,
was talking about so much of his life and like people just overlooked at the time. Mac Miller was doing the same thing on a track like that.
yeah.
And so for that reason, it's really like one of my favorites. It just like stands out when I think about his career. But there are so many good ones on the newer projects. So I don't think you can go wrong with 2009. Like you said, I think that's a very valid pick.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a ton of different options, and it's definitely like subjective to the vibe you're feeling, I guess, because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like we said, two different careers there. So
Yeah, I'm not bumping Perfect Circle Godspeed like every day, but when I
yeah,
hear it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's one.
yeah. So
All right, let's go into one for you here. We were just talking about him. I want to give him a little more love this episode. Chance the Rapper.
I gotta go with Prom Night. That's the first one.
Oh,
First one that comes to mind. That's the one I bumped the most as well. Obviously got like no problem ones like that, but Prom Night, I can remember like the first time I heard it because I at first initially I didn't listen to Chance too much. This is probably like 2016, 2017, and I used to watch like these. Me and Anthony, one of them boys, we used to like watch these like football highlights or like football mixes. Like the songs would like kind of go with the mix. Like if the beat drops, like a big hit happens, or like someone
uh-huh.
gets juked out, stuff like that. It was like a college football mix, and Prom Night was in there, and it was some
Hmm.
like different mix with it, and I still bumped that one a little bit more. But I also obviously like the OG beat to Prom Night and everything, but I mean, yeah, that one's got some memories attached to it, obviously. So
That's fire. That's not one that I would expect to see in a highlight tape, but
yeah,
the
I'll have
different
to like
remix of it maybe makes sense. Yeah, I got to
send
see
through the
this.
video. It's fire, honestly. I watched it the other day actually because Prom Night came on. I was like, okay, I'll go watch it.
Yeah, it brings it back. That's fire. When you think of Chance, like favorite best, do you have a one that stands out as best versus Prom Night, or are you
I
rocking with Prom Night?
really I honestly like would say I rock with Prom Night. Like just like I mean just the storytelling through Prom Night is it's great.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go with Prom Night for me. What would your answer be?
This is tough because Chance is somebody where he's been my favorite rapper for so long in my life that it's tough to pick one. And I think the one that I just like go back to and I'm just like, man, that's like a special one is Finish Line Drown off a Coloring Book. I don't know why, but that's just like one of my all-time favorites. His second verse on that, one of my all-time favorite Chance verses, no question. And so I think as a whole, it's a great song. You got the No Name feature on it too. T-Pain does his thing on it as well. I think
Yeah,
there's a lot of good songs. Coloring Book kind of to me just has like more moments of my life attached to it. Like Acid Rap, I was in, but then Coloring Book was just like when I became like a diehard
yeah.
Chance fan. So it just has a special place for me. But then there are so many good ones on Acid Rap. I think I actually might have to go Acid Rain. I'm going Acid Rain. Then I'll go Finish Line number
I
two.
feel like
Acid Rain
it's always
has to be number one.
it's always a mood too. Like literally, you could ask me the same question 2 weeks from now, and my answer may be different. So I mean, it's just
Mm-hmm.
all about vibes. That's hitting right now. So
I agree. Like I haven't been on Acid Rain in a minute, but I think all time I have to go with that. It kind of slipped my mind until I was like
mhm.
thinking about the Acid Rap ones. Got to go with it though.
Yeah, that's like with Drake. Like, look what you've done. Tracks like that. Like, look what you've done will never not be the best Drake song to me. Like it may not get bumped as much or stuff like that, but it's just one that's just solidified there. So we have here. Let's go with Logic.
I got one in my head and I cannot think of the title of it. 5 a.m. 5 a.m. is the first one that's in my head.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the
What?
one? I seen a lot of shit I shouldn't
Yep, that's
have, but
five.
never
That's
forgot it
five.
though.
Yep, that's 5 a.m.
Okay, that was the first one I heard Logic. That was the first song that came to my head. That's random. That's the point of this, I
There we
guess.
go. Yeah, you're singing it in your head, and then you're like, oh, "Is it 5 a.m.?" And then like 5 a.m. That's your guess. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy because that's I don't know the last time I heard that song, but when he said Logic, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got a lot of memories attached to Logic as well, so I like bringing him up whenever we have the chance to. When I talk about favorite Logic, though, I think I'd have to go with something like Off of Under Pressure for sure, and I think I would lean maybe Soul Food. I like Soul Food a
Yeah, I
lot.
like so that's right up there with mine. I would have to go. I can't pick. I can't narrow down one because I mean, like Logic's just one of the ones where I feel like he has just had so many consistent great tracks. Like it's hard to choose one. I'd put Soul Food up there. I like Till the End a lot, and then 44 Bars as well. So
Ooh, 44 bars. I like that. Yeah. Shout to Logic. Somebody we don't talk about too much, but definitely deserves his flowers.
yeah, of course, yeah. I mean that run back in the day was something. So
Yeah. Let's move on to your next one here. This is actually a very good segue. When I saw Logic in concert, I think for the first time, opening up for him, Joey Badass. What song do you think of with Joey Badass?
survival tactics or survivor's guilt. I mean, either those like go hand in hand, of course.
Uh-huh.
Obviously I said survival tactics first. I mean, Joey's just that he was actually on here for me to choose like as one of my backup options. So I'm glad we didn't overlap there. But I mean, just obviously a great track. And then like the parallels with Survivor's Guild as well. I feel like those they don't really
Hmm.
connect the way they sound or anything like that, but the parallels of what they're about or who Survival Tactics is with, you know, and then that. So um
Hmm.
phenomenal track. So of course.
Definitely a fire connection there. Great pick. I think that's like a pretty unanimous choice for
Yeah.
Joey. Like that's an all-time 2010s staple. So definitely a good pick there. I'll give flowers to Penny Royal as well. That's one of my favorites off of 1999.
Moving on to the next one here. We got Titty Boy 2 Chains.
And it is I'm different. I'm
That
different is the
now would just
one.
go so hard. It was so yeah, like I'm different, I'm him. Like that would literally just it'd be perfect nowadays.
I know he was kind of before his time with some of the catchphrases and the different stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Two Chain song that always come to my mind for one specific story, and that is when I was in high school. We were on the bus to the basketball games, and this is like when beats were really becoming popular. And
Yeah.
so, if you had beats, you were really him. And I remember there was this guy on my basketball team, and he was listening to "I'm Different," and one of our assistant coaches just kept hearing the beat, the piano, and I feel like after a while, yeah, I feel like after a while it might get a little bit
Yeah.
annoying. Yeah, especially I think it was after a loss. And so he just kept hearing it and he was like, the next time I hear that, I'm gonna come back and snap those goddamn beats. And I think he kept playing it and even turned it up. But yeah, it was a very funny classic basketball bus. I feel like that's one of the situations where like it's not supposed to be funny, so it's way funnier. Like we were
Yeah,
sitting
like
there, like, we probably just lost by 20 or whatever. We're on the bus back. And yeah, it was not supposed to be fun and games, but it
you just got
was.
30 piece in a freshman game fucking
Yeah.
driving.
Yeah, it was tough. I think it was actually a game at Schlarman, if I remember right, but I could be wrong on
Oh
that.
yeah. If you're coming home with the loss from Schlarman, yeah, you better not hear anything on that
It,
fucking
it
bus.
was early on it. I think it was my freshman year.
Okay, yeah, you better not be. You should be able to hear a fucking pin drop in that bus
Yeah, yeah,
if you just
exactly.
lost to Schlarman.
Yeah, that was in the start of the come up,
Yeah.
so it was tough. My next one here for you, we got Trippy Red.
Ooh, Topanga. I gotta go with Topanga.
Ooh,
Just because I've told this story before, I'll tell it again, of course. So during like COVID, we play Madden all day, like franchise mode, just do random stuff, like go to eat in Champagne and gas was like $1.80. Like
yeah.
we were paying nothing to go to Champagne and fucking eat in the car pretty much, like get fucking Texas Roadhouse takeout stuff like that. And my friend, and it used to be like 4 or 5 of my friends we used to go pack, so the energy would just be immaculate when the song played. And my friend Nick cannot stand this song. I don't know why, like don't know what it is, but he absolutely hates this song. And he would try and roll down windows, do all this shit. So if I was driving, we were listening to it full blast pretty much the whole ride there. So
That's a vibe. It's a good track. It's not one I go back to too often, but when it comes on, I love it. It's a
Yeah,
good
no,
track for sure.
it's one I always got to give that listen to just for that reasoning there.
Oh yeah, it's a good vibe to associate with that. Do you have a favorite all-time Trippie Red song, or would that be
Um,
it?
Honestly, with Trippie Red, that was like I felt like I listened to him a lot more in high school and stuff like that.
Hmm.
One that always will not my favorite, not the best either, but another one that I feel like needs to mention. 1400 freestyle with
It's a
him
good
and
one.
Juice.
It's a good one.
It's that one goes hard. So
Yeah, I feel like I have different phases. Like I feel like I don't go super into like one Trippie Red album, but like when I hear a song, I'll go with it for a little bit.
yeah,
Like the most recent one was probably like last year, and it was Love Scars 3. Like I hadn't really
uh,
heard it, and then I heard it and I was like, I love that song. But there's so many like Wish or Taking a Walk. Like when I had a
yeah.
phase with
Taking a
those two,
walk's a great one
they
as
were up
well.
there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
All right, moving on here. So for your fourth one here, we got Wheezy F Baby, Lil Wayne.
Ooh, there's so many Lil Wayne songs, but the first one that comes to my mind is Blunt Blowin'.
Same here. That's what I was like.
Okay, that's
I was
fire.
thinking it in myself. I was like, yeah, blah blah.
Yeah, that's fire. I have a core memory of Blunt Blowin', and that is when I was in like eighth grade soccer, I think. So backstory, if you're not from Hoopson, there's Jerkers 1 and there's Jerkers 2 for soccer. Jerkers 1 had all the dogs, all my friends, and I was stuck on Jerkers 2, just getting beat by 8 every game, like having an awful time. I had to play goalie for half the game because nobody else could do it, and then I would go play forward and I would just try to let up like 2 goals and then try to go score a couple, but then whoever was in goal would let up, like 7 more. So
Yeah.
I had really no chance of winning. Um, so very unfortunate, but there was one game where I played goalie the first half, and then the second half I went out and I scored 3 goals. And
uh,
Blunt Blown by Lil Wayne was the last song I listened to in the car, and so it was just in my head the whole time. So poor memory there.
yeah, I mean, Lil Wayne just has way too many to choose, like a favorite or a best, even. So, I mean, Blunt
Hmm.
Blowin's for sure the one that came to my mind as well. So, W pick there.
Oh yeah. Let's go on to your next one here. We got 21 Savage.
That's crazy because he was going to be your next pick.
Ooh.
I got Ric Flair drip though.
Okay.
Just such a fucking tough song. I mean,
It
and
is.
21 Sat. I mean, just anything he puts out is just hard. Like just super super tough. Another one that just kind of like randomly comes to mind, like a sad 21 Savage song, is "Ball Without You." Like I can't remember
Oh,
who I
I
saw.
like that.
Someone posted it the other day, so I'll bring in an additional 21 Savage song there as well. So
I appreciate that. That's another good one to mention. It's in one of my like late night vibe type playlists, so
yeah,
I'm always rocking with that when it comes on. Shout to 21. I think the first one that comes in my head is like No Heart or X or something like one of those
yeah,
early
this.
21s.
Yeah, I say like 2017, 2018 is kind of when I first got into it. So I kind of missed that 2016 phase.
Hmm.
But obviously just tons of great options.
Yeah, you were like 11 years old, so it
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. I was starting kindergarten when fucking when he dropped his cipher. So
Yeah.
um for your last one here, I got to use an alternate, and I was deciding, do I want to use this alternate or use 21 Savage? So I'm kind of
I have
glad
one
that
of those
happened.
too, and I'm gonna do the alternate.
We got the first brown boy to get it popping. We got Nav.
Ooh, it's hit. Everything hit. I
Yeah.
I don't listen to Nav too much. I think I listened to song like within the past week though, so it's funny to bring that up. And I don't even want to talk too much about Nav. Nav, he gets enough love because this is the perfect tie-in. You gave me one of the first brown boys. I'm gonna give you another brown boy. Gun to your head. Name your favorite French Montana song.
Unforgettable.
Ooh, that was a good one. That was fast.
But the PNB Rock remix hit way harder. That's the only reason why I know, because I knew PNB Rock had remixed it. So I mean, just we're in it with two brown boys that got it popping.
That's fire.
Two goats there. So
Oh yeah,
I had
that's
to
a
tie it in with Devin picking
Devin.
this. We had to give a Nav mention somewhere. Nav episode on the way, collab with him. So stay
It
tuned.
has to. Shout out to the Brown Boys though. Let's get into the news of the week. Great to talk about all these different artists, but let's talk about some other artists that dropped this week. Starting with the releases, we got projects from Jack Harlow, G Herbo, Mike Dean, T Grizzly, Homicide Gang, Draco the Ruler, and Labyrinth. Then we got some singles from Russ, Skepta, Lucky, Lupe Fiasco, Eam Triplin, Chance dropping Juice, Tame Impala and Thundercat, Conway the Machine, Rich the Kid, Rico Nasty, Tizo Touchdown, And there's even more. This was a very solid week.
We're picking up. Like this is a very solid like filler week. You know, it's not the best week of the year, not the worst week of the year. Like this is just like a random week last year. This is
Hmm.
I mean very solid. The Jack Harlow project, I really enjoyed that. I felt like it felt a lot more like Jack Harlow than Come Home the Kids Miss You did. There was a track that I don't, this is like, I don't, I guess it just hits for me, of course, being like the youngest cousin. Like, you know, I was kind of hanging around like John or you, Jonathan, of course, and like Austin. And then like
Hmm.
obviously you guys, you know, grew up, went into high school. Which one is it? Blame on me.
Oh.
I was like, damn, this is my life. Like not not to the depressing way, like not to that extent there, but like
Yeah,
kind of I kind of felt, you know, some vibes there with that. So I just had to bring that up for the pod.
man, that's crazy. I don't feel that, but I feel that at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time.
Obviously, that you didn't
Uh,
have like that bigger cousin or you know
uh-huh.
stuff like
But
that.
I get where
So
you're coming from. That is a fire tie-in, and it's the beautiful thing about music is like I did not even like think about that, but
yeah, like
that's the one of the first things you thought about probably. So that's crazy. Um, yeah, I'll piggyback on what you said here, though. I think it's a very good sort of return to form for Jack. I think even he's kind of aware, it sounds like, that he
yeah,
kind of like sold out a little bit with Come Home, the Kids Miss You. Like there was one track, I don't remember which one it was, but he was kind of talking about like all the people that review about him, like, what if they're right? And like he's kind
mhm.
of think they are. And self-awareness, I mean, I think that gets you a long way. And helps you kind of come back to where you were at if you were already at a good place. And so I think
Yeah,
there's some good tracks in here. Denver was a very good song, but the one that just like stands out to me that I don't know how to feel about is Gang Gang Gang, where he's talking about like
yeah, yeah. Like
Marcus and Kevin, like these friends that are
yeah,
on some
just
bad shit that you're just
crazy
like,
stuff.
yeah. And it's just interesting. I like the sentiment of the song. Like you grow up and you know, these are your dogs, like you're riding with them. And
Yeah,
then maybe they're not doing something that you're
you're
not
with.
rocking
I
with.
hope you're
Yeah.
not with that,
Yeah,
Jack.
exactly. But to the extent of that, I don't know how many people can really relate to that. Maybe more than I'm aware of, but if that's something he's actually living through, you know, great for him to be able to
Yeah, I
talk
mean,
about that. But yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of crazy.
this one felt like a like obviously you know, Come the Kids Miss You was kind of like I guess like a media put or like you just want the attention from that. I felt like that's kind of what it was. Um, but with this here, I felt like this is Jack Harlow being more real. And you know, I feel like as an artist, that's a really underrated aspect is being able to, you know, like pour your heart out or, you know, talk about these things. So I feel like this album could do a lot for him personally.
Hmm. 100%. I agree. I think so much of his, you know, come up was storytelling, talking about, you know, his perspective on stuff and just putting out pretty good music. And then he was just trying to do pop hits, it felt like.
Yeah.
And so now trying to get back into that, great to see that. So I think that's a good step for his career. And, you know, we'll see how it's received. It's looking like it's going to sell about 50,000 first week, which is, you know, very
Yeah, really
good.
good for like
Yeah.
no fucking there was no really what's the word I'm looking for here?
Like
No
promotion.
advertise yeah, no
Yeah.
promotion for it or anything. So or
Yeah.
very
Pretty
little at least.
surprise
So
drop, really. Yeah. So just off his name alone, he's doing that, which is obviously very telling to where he is at in his career. So good to see him, you know, use the popularity and go back to the quality. Love that. Some other good songs here though too. I really like the single from Lucky, always gonna rock with him, and then Tease a Touchdown. You know, he's kind of been waiting to put that debut out, the project it feels like. So anytime we get like a song from him, very happy.
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, very solid week. Still, I want to give a listen to the Mike Dean. I haven't. I feel like that's one I need to like sit down and put headphones on. You know,
Yep,
really
yep.
enjoy that listen. So, um, yeah, I mean, just a great week. Labyrinth as well. I'm sure we'll see it in Euphoria. So,
Yep. The Mike D one was definitely cool. So good to get music from him, and especially with the weekend involved, you know, it's going to be good.
yeah.
But it's been a pretty light week. So I guess the only other news that's really dropped this week is Kendrick Lamar's The Big Steppers Tour has become the highest grossing tour ever by a rapper, grossing over $10 million. Or
That's
sorry,
insane.
$110 million.
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah. I was like, yeah, I was like,
$110
I was
million.
looking, I was like,
dollars.
no, that's insane. And I'm sure we're just gonna keep seeing this record get broken. I mean, as you know, you have these Drakes or maybe Travis's next time. I'm sure it'll just keep getting broken there. But obviously, just phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, especially like as rap becomes pop essentially, and
Yeah,
rappers are able to do big tours and even bigger venues, like when Drake does a stadium tour instead of, you know, basketball arenas. I think he's gonna probably shatter this record. It'll be crazy if he does, 30 stadiums in a summer. He'll shatter this. So we'll see what happens, but very exciting to see these rappers just continue to grow the genre. So beautiful.
I'll never forget J. Cole saying this summer I'm selling out Wrigley's, and I'm still waiting. So still waiting, Jermaine.
We'll see, maybe this summer. But I think that's really going to wrap it up. Hopefully there's a little bit more news to get into next week. But we did it last year, our summer playlist. We talked about summer music coming up. We'll get into some more summer music, but next episode is going to be our summer playlist. 20 songs we think you should listen to this summer. Going to be fire. You don't want to miss it. So we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.